Okay, we're going?
Yep.
Okay, and I'm going to share my screen here. So, hi everybody. We are building our map for our event planning app. And just for a little bit of context, we are doing kind of a complex event that's a large-scale fundraiser, and it's a team of people working on this project. So there are different individuals working in here. They all kind of represent our primary scenario, even though they're different people doing different tasks, just to give you that background. Share screen. So Alex and I were kind of struggling to make our video not bore you to death. In trying to draw fluidly and talk about this, we found it to be kind of, well, at least I'll speak for myself. I found it to be difficult. So we backed up a little bit and we kind of thought through what will our process look like a little bit. We gave ourselves a little bit of a starter. So you're seeing that here. Hang on, why can I not?
You want to minimize some things in the background?
I can't move my window.
Oh, well, the heck. Can you press the green button at the top of the screen?
It's like scrolling.
Oh.
Copy?
Yeah. I was like, why did you turn that on?
Okay, now it's working for some reason. All right, so I forgot what I was saying, but essentially we're starting kind of at the beginning of the process here, and just to get us going, we've started mocking up this particular part of the this particular scenario or focus area. And Alex and I are kind of sharing and talking about this for the first time, and then we're going to walk through a couple more of these. I don't know if we'll do all of them on our video. So we have ambitious Andrew here. He's our project lead, and his goal is to get his project team up and running. And this section here represents what our app looks like, or what it provides for enabling this event planning process. And then down here is really specifying what his activities are and how he's working with the app. And then we intend to fill out what he's thinking and what he's feeling in the process. So we are calling out here that from the very beginning, Andrew has the option when he signs up for, we never named this thing, but when he signs up for our app, to choose different plan levels that would cost different amounts. So he can choose a smaller scale personal plan, which would offer certain features, a business meeting plan, or a fundraiser plan, for kind of lack of better way of figuring out how to compartmentalize these, indicating or suggesting here that the fundraiser plan is more complex. So he chooses that one, and the first thing he does is set up an administrator dashboard where he starts to organize this project and decide which widgets it will use and who assign tasks to his team. And some of the things that he is doing in this process are using his credit card to purchase his app subscription. He is setting up the folio. We're calling the project, the whole project, a folio. And you can kind of see here what's going on. He's creating team members and he's choosing modules, which is something we have not laid out here, like modules like he can choose to attach widgets to his plan that are things like a budget tracker or a timeline tracker or a list tool, and all of these things become available to the people working on this project. So he's also assigning his team members to tasks, and that leads to each of these different areas that we'll go through. Okay, so that's enough of setup. Now Alex and I have to hash this thing out. So any thoughts? And like one thing I just mentioned that I know is missing is this, what this kind of blows up into or expands into is maybe a kind of floating area that is these different modules we could think about, like a budget tool, a timeline tool, and a list tool. Mm-hmm. And those things, how do we think about this? They will be available to everybody to use, but they kind of live on their own. They're sort of, what am I trying to say? They're universal or ubiquitous to everybody. So so instead of calling them out specifically in each task, maybe they get there, we identify them in their own little sphere somehow. That was the only thing I could think to add to this yet, is calling those things out.
True. It could be almost like a background, being, for a better term, like a background widget or something that gets pulled into certain aspects along the journey. Right.
And then one other one I just thought of would be the does he choose integration? Like, does he choose integration with Google tools, or does he choose integration like we talked about yesterday with Yelp and things like that in order to populate or have access to lists of vendors and all that? So he's probably choosing those things at this stage too.
Right. Because some people like certain tools more than other tools. Like some people like Bing, some people like Google search.
Right.
Yelp. I don't know what else is the equivalent to a Yelp.
Right. What they actually are, but
Square or something. I don't know. That might be an old thing now. But yeah, if this person had the choice to even personalize how they're going to receive their lists or whatever they're pulling from even further, or even like if they're an Android user versus a Mac user, they're going to have different choices then too. And then taking another level, if this app was created, etc., it would have to work for both scenarios.
Right, which I'm so not a PC person, I can't even really speak to what that looks like. I don't.
It probably is similar. It's just like maybe there's an extra step here or there, or maybe, like I said, maybe instead of Safari, it's Chrome or whatever an Android phone uses these days.
Okay.
But is that something, another layer that we need to add in here? Like, do we move some of these boxes down and then say, do we say that this is like a framework that happens at the beginning of buying this app, or it's a choice? Is that too much?
I'm feeling like these choices, live in here. Those are this is what he's doing at this stage.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to make note of them as a little tack on here right now and clean this up later. Mm-hmm. So he's choosing those integration. So does he, he has to, so probably up here is the platform choice.
Yeah. Also, is his integration for his guest list coming through his email? And then that takes it to, how is that email list and contacts being populated? And how is he bringing it into this app?
Right. And, really having such little understanding of how all that works, I don't know if I'm even know what I'm talking about, but would that be part of choosing integration, like different email clients and stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to, I mean, if you set up your Mac, they'll ask you in the mail setup, it'll show the logos of all the other email providers. And then you just click on which one you want to set up, like um, Outlook or something, or
Right.
Exchange, and
Okay.
then you put in your credentials, and everything from that email address comes in.
Okay. So
Actually,
should
yeah,
we,
yeah.
do we want to list some big ones? So like email client, right?
Yeah. Let's just say like Gmail, Office. What is that? I just called it Outlook is a big one.
Um,
Wait, is that what you're saying?
I
Or
was just going to generalize it.
yeah.
Like choosing
Oh,
integrations such as email client. And then I was thinking, how do we label choosing search, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm talking about this the right way. I don't know what I'm talking about. And we talked about like things like Yelp. How do you classify them?
Yelp is like a tool. I think of it as a tool that it's a search tool.
Yeah, I don't really know how to.
Like a what if we're getting really granular? What if depending on whether or not you go Android or OS X, those come predetermined in a package. Like you'll get the package tools for Mac versus the package tools for like the PC or Android version. The only one that you actually have a choice on is the email, because everybody has a different type of email, especially if it's like a work email versus a personal email. Work email is usually coming from Outlook or Gmail, because some enterprise businesses have Gmail now, like we do for my MCAT.
This is so over my head.
I think should just keep it simple to
Yes.
Android versus Mac. There we go. You get this predetermined tool set.
Yeah, so I guess I wonder if creating this app, if you really would, part of its background, like horsepower, would be that it is actually filtering. Like you aren't necessarily continue with the Yelp example. You aren't necessarily integrating with, like as the user, you aren't seeing yourself integrate with Yelp.
Right.
What you are seeing is the product of that app doing this work behind the scenes of the user interface.
Yes.
And it's curating top rated. Like, how does Angie's List do this? So it's kind of like how Angie's List works, right?
I actually haven't used Angie's List, but
Angie's List.
It's very similar. It populates a list gathering data from across the web.
Right.
Somehow.
So does that mean it's crawling? I don't know what that means.
I don't know the term.
And then every resource in Angie's List is getting a rating.
Yes.
By Angie's List users. But they start with that list. Well, okay. So we spend a lot of time on this, I think. Should we just I'll leave a TBD in this area for right now?
Yeah.
I recognize that this is part of it, but we don't know how it works.
But that is a good question.
We'll call it we'll just call it top rated vendors.
I just opened a can of worms. You could actually make your own database builder.
Oh boy.
Great. All right, I'm gonna close this window.
Yeah, so right, the database behind all this. That's a whole other project.
Yeah.
That's for the tech people to figure out.
But this is a user experience journey, so we're just going through the steps in the process of visualizing what this person is doing.
Yeah, and I think it's enough for us to say they're choosing they're choosing integration. They don't think of it that way, but they're choosing their email client. They're choosing their search engine. They're choosing, well, somehow they're choosing among a populated list of top rated vendors.
Right.
Okay.
So then what is that person thinking? Are we filling out this part? The thinking?
We can, yeah.
Quickly.
Because I think,
yeah.
I feel like that covers pretty well what they are doing here and what the objects are.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we've missed something, but we won't worry about it right now. So I'm gonna scoot this over. Okay. Wow.
Just give some story to this part. So like Andrew is thinking, is he thinking through all this? Like he has too much to work with, or does he feel like it's pretty simple? You choose your plan, you have your dashboard, then you set up your folio.
I don't know what this section should have. Is it his process in his mind, or is it his?
Because then there's feeling. So is he frustrated?
Right.
Or is he happy so far with this process?
He's thinking what elements does my project need?
Maybe peripherally, while he's thinking about this, he's writing some things down so that he has it. Even though that writing of notes isn't necessarily like part of the app, everybody knows that you'll probably be doing some sort of note-taking or phone calling outside of this environment.
Yep.
So maybe he's writing those notes down as he's thinking about it.
And actually, that probably is something that should be in the doing section too.
Yes.
And he's thinking, who, I don't know if this is relevant, who's best for all the tasks. Oh, this delay is driving me crazy. I don't know what else.
That's probably what he's thinking at this point. I think that it doesn't need to be an extensive list.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty basic, and I think pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Should we add something to what he's feeling?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm like struggling with this little delay between my cursor and what's being shown.
No.
And I keep flubbing stuff. Okay. He's feeling probably a little overwhelmed.
Okay.
I don't know.
He's feeling a little bit overwhelmed, but as he starts to assign tasks, I think some of that starts to ease up.
Sure. Oops, I will fix spelling later. Okay.
Okay.
We can add more to this behind the scenes. Okay, so that's a good start on that one.
Mm-hmm. This square that you have open with your choosing integration,
Yeah.
it'd be cool to have that like kind of over the top, maybe in like a not like right there, but maybe on the side as a see-through color. Add a multiply color to it, kind of like a it's happening thing. Maybe I'm not explaining that very well. Never mind.
what's the thought behind the
It's like I feel like it would show that there's more happening, like these choices are happening in conjunction with choosing this journey.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely kind of more of this stuff.
Yeah. That's why I was like, nah, never mind.
But the part about this is, well, let's see. The part of this that I think might have like tendrils or connections to other parts is like, these are things that everybody will use.
Mm-hmm.
So he's choosing tools for the whole team.
Yeah.
And it might be that one of these team members is working on a certain task that requires them sort of begs for the availability of yet another type of integrated tool. And then the question is, do they have access to assigning these things to the project or to their own page? I would think so, I guess, but I don't know. Somehow some of this is universal, so it doesn't only live in here or in his task necessarily.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a little bit of the concern of like having these look so siloed, is that there's all this stuff happening just in this person's realm. And yeah, so I think, is that what you're kind of getting at? That this is,
Yeah, it's like almost like hypothetically, if we put a box at the top above everybody, and then we pull arrows down into where they're going, but then that makes it, I think, the way it's laid out linearly, we might almost have to like move the scenarios where the people's heads are up a little bit, and then put like the center area and fill that out with the tools that are used across the journey equally.
Right.
Almost like the background things that are feeding into the scenarios themselves.
Yes, I totally understand what you're saying. And then I'll just throw this out there. Are we doing, I wonder if that is taking it too far, because if all we're supposed to be, possibly all we should be doing right now is identifying really what things people are using and touching. I don't,
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay. Well, let's stew on that and move to the next. So I need to stop sharing my screen. Do you want to go into secure venue?
Yep. Let me share my screen. Okay. Let's see. Okay. You see that window?
Yep.
All right. So from assigning the tasks, Andrew assigned his task to one of his teammates or team members, either Abby or Allison at this point. So the goal here is to confirm availability and down payment, but I think it should, why can't I click this? Great. 1 second. Oh, here we go. Confirm availability and down payment, but most importantly, search for a venue. search for a venue, and then confirm availability and place the down payment. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we could level that up if we're talking about the goal. Those are definitely the to-dos.
Oh.
But her goal, like if we think about it in terms of really like user need,
Secure venue.
their need, like, right. I'm even backtracking and thinking about getting project team up and running. Like, I guess the question is, how high would we level up the goal? I mean, in terms of, I'm going to buy this app because I know it's going to help me save a lot of time planning my event, and I'm going to plan a better event because I will have more tools at my disposal. Like, so the ultimate goal is plan an excellent event. I don't know.
It goes above everybody.
True. Okay, let's leave that as is.
Well, okay. But the goal of this task is to find the venue, confirm availability, and place the down payment.
Yeah.
Okay. So in here I have like T1 and T3. So I'm imagining that there's these tasks that are happening, but this task person, Abby or Allison, is only going to see the ones that are assigned to her. So that's where I have kind of like the smaller ones are tasks that are not assigned to her, but this big one is. So that's the one she's going to see.
Okay, right.
So then this has some sort of dashboard where she sees an image of the venue and then some descriptions. And then in this section is where it's populated by like a Yelp or something similar. And then as she's scrolling through, she can move down and then pull a venue into this open white area. That's what I'm thinking. So adding moving venues to the favorites list.
Oh, yeah.
Put that in there. And then it can go even further. As she populates this list, she can contact. So I'm putting contacting specific venues, receiving a proposal, and then she has the choice of confirming, rejecting, or modifying the proposal that they send back to her. Along this way, there probably is another like screen or two where she's like writing in what she's looking for to these specific vendors. But I think these are the main areas that she's probably focusing on, is searching for the venue, populating that favorites list, contacting them, and going back and forth on the total and stuff.
So there's an email component in there too, an email object. She's emailing or whatever, and that, right? So
yeah, that's true. Let's move that up somewhere in here. Obviously, these can get a little smaller. Emailing somehow. Maybe it goes right here in the middle. Vendor, venue. Vendor. She's emailing them with what she's looking for. And she's providing them ballpark estimates, basically providing ballpark estimate of people, of event attendees.
do you think realistically she's probably also doing her own Google search and or asking for recommendations from people she knows?
Yes, she most likely is. I don't know anybody that wouldn't.
Yeah.
So that's like, let me just make these boxes a little bigger. One second here. That way we have space. There is quite a bit happening in this section.
Mm-hmm.
Then almost like I would call a peripheral type of thing, like maybe it's a circle.
Yeah.
And this is happening outside of the app.
Sure.
What the sounds for. And then, so, what's that sound? Sorry. A sound that sounds like an animal crunching on something. It's not my dog either. Okay, so she's searching Google for reviews and making phone calls to friends and family for suggestions. Something like that. And then back into the app, she is doing this. I mean, what if it's possible that if she does her own Google searching and is making phone calls, that she picks one of their suggestions? So then the app would have to have the ability to find that vendor too, or that venue through the app.
Mm-hmm.
That way she can keep everything within the app.
Right.
Because it's key if they're working as a team to remember to come back to the app to fill that out.
Right.
It's easy for someone to just be like, oh, I'm just going to go do this now, and then not have it in there. And then that breaks the whole entire purpose of the app.
Right.
But that's probably Andrew's issue. Keep people in track and in line, right?
Well, yes. And
He's almost like the project manager at this point.
mm-hmm. So she is
maybe I'll put a phone in here. Yeah. Searching on Google. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. That looks like a search toolbar, kind of.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do what I want you to do. Nope. Not to get into the weeds of that. Okay, so she's gonna do this peripherally. There needs to be some sort of like maybe even smaller text saying if she finds the venue outside of the app, she then returns and populates that populates her findings within the app in order to keep everything organized. Hold on. This is hypothetical, though.
Right. Well, she has to do this because her teammates will be, the person that is in charge of other vendors like decorations and catering and stuff. She's going to need to be aware of which venue has been confirmed. So all these team members will be needing to see the status of one another's tasks.
Critical importance here.
Or they could just pop over to the next cube and ask.
Fix it later.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. All right, so then that's what they do. And then they contact the specific venues, receive the proposal. They either confirm, reject, or modify the proposal. All right, so then what is she thinking?
She's thinking,
and I think this was Abby, right?
I don't remember.
I think it was Team Abby. Abu. Oh, man. So we went to this training yesterday. It told us that we shouldn't be feeding our dog 3 times a day.
Oh.
Because she just is grazing the whole time.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, you need to just feed her once a day.
Is she overweight?
No, she's not. She's not one of those dogs that'll just eat all the food at once. So she grazes, and she kind of wants you to put things in the food so that way she'll like it better. So they told us, no, just feed her once a day. That way she starts to understand that you guys are the boss.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay, so she's thinking this process is fairly simple, maybe. However, she feels pressure to find the perfect venue.
I was thinking more answering that from a different angle, which is she's thinking, I need a venue that's large enough for 500 people.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that was more like a feeling. Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm answering that quite correctly. Like, that's pretty tactical. I don't know if these are supposed to be tactical answers.
It's probably a tactical answer because then you have the feeling right underneath it. So then, yeah, she's thinking about the number of attendees and calculating attendees. She's thinking about the number of attendees. She's focused on payment. Staying within the budget.
Right.
Yep. She's thinking about the number of attendees and she's focused on staying within the budget.
Which makes me want to cycle back eventually to Andrew, which is he's probably establishing a budget.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. We'll make note of that.
She's thinking this process, she's feeling this process is fairly simple. However, she feels pressure to find the perfect venue. She's relying on reviews to help guide the decision. Mm-hmm. Okay. So how do you feel about that?
Pretty good.
Okay. As I'm like swirling around my screen here. I'm like, wee. Okay. All right.
So
do you want to do
yeah,
this one, which is
over.
All right.
Hop over to
do stop share. All right.
Okay, hopping over to invites. Let me move this thing. What the heck? Why can I not move this thing?
Notice that when you're recording, even like at work, everything gets slow. Starts moving real slow.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't remember who this was, Abby or Allison. Let's just say it's Allison. What the heck's going on?
Yeah, let's go back and forth. So the one in the beginning was Abby, then there's Allison. Maybe this is Abby. So because she's securing the venue, and she's maybe it is Abby because she is doing securing the venue and then sending out the tickets and registration. Since she knows what venue it is and the time and the location, she should be doing the tickets and registration.
Okay, I think and then the same, however, like this coordinate vendors thing, yesterday we were kind of debating, do we lump all these things together, all these vendors, or do we separate them? And the more I thought about it, I think they need to be separated so that we can really kind of pressure test, are these tasks all requiring the same objects, and are they, or really more to see what's different about them.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought
that could be true, like across the board, really, in regard to all these people need to kind of understand what one another is doing, which kind of brings up the point of this like ability to somehow have these running, what would you call them, like?
Well, in the column that I did, and I put the T1 and T3, you could say that those are, even though she's not assigned to them, she could still click on it and see what's happening in that task.
Exactly. So everything that one of these people is inputting into their page, their individual page, is somehow connecting to a larger, what is the word I'm looking for? Kind of a synopsis.
Yep.
Screen.
That's the summary.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so we can figure that out. And maybe whatever. Okay. So invites. There's creating invites. We had talked in our scenario about the ability to use pre-populated templates that are in the app, or the ability to customize your invite, like import your own graphics and everything. So I think there's like so Abby has the date and time info, and she's ready to create her invite, and so she goes to the like template gallery to sift through and see if there are any templates she wants to use. and she finds one. Where am I? Okay, so I'm gonna stick this down here because that's what she does. She chooses a template. But still the app there is the customizer tool.
Mm-hmm.
She might have chose that. Oh, my dog's about to get really loud. My husband just got home.
Oh.
Okay. Here he goes. Okay, what else? She's
chooses invite template. She needs to be able to access the email list.
The email list?
Yeah, the attendees list.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Who created that?
Andrew was supposed to.
Oh, you know what though? Here's back into the context of this particular event that's a fundraiser. What she's doing, like you wouldn't have probably a list of invites because you would have a whole other area that's marketing this event because it's open to the public.
Invites, tickets and registration.
So in her case, it's more of registration where they are seeking sponsorships from companies. And so they have a list of sponsors, potential sponsors that they're contacting. So this is less of like a party invite and more of a sponsorship invite, I guess.
Okay. But would they sponsor them? Would they send it through an email to like an HR person, or not HR, but some sort of management position, or would they send this in the mail?
Well, this would be an invitation to sponsor. I mean, I think it could take any shape. I think it electronic works, and what this, instead of like RSVPing whether or not you're coming to this event, what sponsors would choose is a sponsorship level, like a silver, gold, or platinum level, which are different rates. So it's kind of like analogous to deciding if you're chicken, beef, or veggie.
Well, should this be, so your template gallery, oh, never mind. If it's registering or inviting sponsors, they somehow have to contact these sponsors, and unless there's two groups, sponsors that they've had before or the ability to have new sponsors. But then where would they be sending this out? Would they be connecting it with a social media platform online, or through various websites that are part of this organization?
I think that it could be any of those things. Also, it could be really a known list of potential sponsors just from knowing who they are through their networks, through the client's network.
Okay.
Like they're probably targeting people that I think that they are going to think are interested in viable sponsors. So they behind the scenes, how do I explain this? Andrew's team here, in my mind, they've been like this agency planning an event for a client who's actually the event owner. And this event owner is in a particular market, and they know their market well, and they have their network of people, and they're throwing this event, and they know who's relevant to the event they're throwing and who they think would be a viable sponsor. it's marketing more so than it is like inviting people to a party. So it's pursuing sponsors. And so there's probably other activities going on where they are actually talking to their network to feel out for sponsors. They may be talking about it on social media, like you said. This particular thing that they're sending out is actually the call to sponsor. And so it goes out with, so people maybe are hearing about this in the broader universe as well, but this is a targeted invitation to sign up to sponsor.
Okay.
And so again, instead of having a box that the sponsor would check chicken, beef, or veggie, it'll be silver, gold, or platinum, and it has a cost associated with it, and then the sponsor would choose one of those, and then the sponsor would pay for that through an integrated transaction.
So then
service.
And to show this invite or template sponsor thing, this would live as, we're not thinking about how it's going to live. We're just going through the process of choosing the template of how this is going to be shown to others, right?
I'm not sure what you mean. I think we're just going through the process of what are these people doing.
Okay. What are these people doing? They're creating this invite template.
Yeah, so she's preparing this invite. She chooses the invite template and she sends it to sponsors. Sends it to potential sponsors. And really this ends up being like advertising a little bit.
And this
it's kind of a flyer.
A flyer. Okay, an e-flyer?
Yeah, it's more, she'll use the invitation. Maybe we need to call it something else. She would use what would be like equivalent to the invite creator tool for planning a wedding.
Okay.
But this would be more like sending an announcement or flyer to potential sponsors through which they could do this process of signing up to sponsor.
And is this a list of sponsors she has before well, obviously she wants to attract new sponsors, but she has to start with some sponsors.
Right.
So she has some sort of list of ways to contact these people.
Right.
Needs to come in somewhere.
So she's got a list. And she's probably also talking on social media.
Mm-hmm. So this template that she's creating could have a set of tools to create that same type of invite in different formats. Maybe she creates one and then it like populates the other formats for her.
What are the formats?
Like a social media format, or a bar that shows up at the top of a web page, type of like a banner format.
Oh, okay.
Now we're just, okay, sorry. I'm getting really into like, well, what is that going to look like?
Yeah, I know. And I think the word of caution, as I recall in the instructions, was don't worry about the execution.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Social media, potential sponsors list. Right. Already
she's doing
existing sponsors list.
She's
potential.
I wonder if she's handed the list or if she's responsible for creating the list. She's probably handed the list.
Mm-hmm.
Probably provided the list by the client. And I feel like, again, with an event like this, there would be a marketing role, and maybe talking on social media isn't her task here, because that would belong to like the marketing function. And whether or not marketing, the activity of marketing is part of what this app provides, I think that's kind of out of scope. I think marketing would be happening somewhere else. And this is just, this app to me seems to be like it's just the process of pulling the event together.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm going to stick that over here. Social media, like the whole social media plan and everything would be marketing.
Yep.
Okay, so she's chosen a template. She's given a list of providers, so she sends it to her potential sponsors. She sends the invite to the sponsors. She receives updates on, I don't know what, sponsor purchases. And this is so hard to do on the fly.
Sponsors, updates, and purchases.
So basically when she gets the sponsor response, and so say a sponsor said, yeah, I want to be a gold sponsor. And it's already determined that this gold sponsor gets then certain perks at the event, like the size of their logo in the event venue.
Maybe she sends a confirmation. Maybe she sends them back a confirmation and a thank you or something.
Sure.
Can't wait to see you at the event. I don't know.
Receives updates on purchases, right. And then she confirms receipt of that. And this, here's where, like, what this would do then is trigger ordering this sponsor's signage, but that's not something she's doing. That's something the app would do.
Yep.
So I don't know how to include that here. I mean, I don't know if to include that here.
Maybe part of sending out that invite. So somehow this potential sponsor sees something and they click on it on social media or something or another, and they decide they want to sign up. So then they do the sign up process. In that sign up process, they have the ability to upload their signage, their predetermined template of signage that they're going to have on their table or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that gets sent to back to Abby. And this is where she says the receives the updates on sponsored purchases. And then the template of signage that they chose. These are predetermined by Andrew and the team, whatever they are. Then she sends them back confirmation of receipt, and then some sort of confirmation that their template that they chose, like the graphics or whatever they uploaded, are compliant to the print package that they're going to have. Here. Whatever that may be.
Right? Yep. So then there's some supplier integration here.
Yeah.
Happening. And then again, cycling back over here, that
predetermined supplier of print materials or something.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, you see what I'm like struggling with is like when we start talking about how do the mechanics of this work, I think we're getting off track. That's my sense of what we're supposed to be doing, but I don't really know. I'm confused.
Well, let's just keep it the basic level. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
Picks the template gallery. She customizes the customizer tool. She chooses the invite template. She uses the provided list of potential sponsors. Somehow there's these social media tools that are happening in the background that are pulling in more people and more emails that she has to send this invite to. Then the next part of the process, which she's not worrying about who's coming, who the vendors, who the sponsors are, other than the one that's already provided to her, because all these other ones are coming from the marketing team. So she just focuses on the task at hand, which is sends the invite to the potential sponsors at ongoing process. She receives the updates from them, and she sends them a receipt, period. That's what she's doing.
Right.
All this other, like, into the weeds things can just happen later if we that's it. Okay. I think we got it.
I feel like that's for somebody else in the process. I'm totally not sure, but that's my sense.
Okay.
So I think that's the extent of what she's doing, and that's the extent of her so-called objects.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not quite represented here visually yet, but we've talked through them at least.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get there. Do you want me to go quickly through the last two that I created? Because they're somewhat similar.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So that was invites and tickets and registration. So now we're going to go down here to tear down and guest follow-ups. Let me just make these a little bigger. Oh, sure. All right. So in teardown, after they send the invites and everything, which is an ongoing process, and they do the entertainment and activities, once the event is coming to a close and it's the last day and they have to clean everything up, here we are at the teardown section. Let's just say that this was an Allison task. So again, she sees her goal is to ensure that all vendors meet the time deadlines to avoid extra costs, which brings the budget up. And in her dashboard or whatever, I put T4 and T6 over here. So this would be, let's just call this T5, task 5. And she sees this like startup dashboard. So over here on the left-hand side, she has this list of vendors that are there. And then this timetable that's happening is ongoing on that day. Perhaps this dashboard opens up only on the teardown day. I don't know, maybe it should start up earlier than that, not sure. What she can do is each vendor has specific needs. So you can see each by double-clicking the vendor on the dashboard timeline here. And then she does a check-in or check-out, and she has these details that she can look at that'll help her along that process. Other than that, I'm not too sure how much more she's going to be able to delineate the right term here. Because what she is doing is making sure that the vendor is tearing down at the right time.
Right.
So
she's scheduling their tear down up in that dashboard. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, what I didn't realize here is that there is a check-in. So then this is also happening the day before or 2 days before the event as well, because they have to make sure that the vendors are checked in and they have all their needs within
okay.
So there's a kind of this other portion happening. So maybe this teardown is like set up and teardown.
Right.
And that person should be the same person because they're ensuring
right.
it's coming in and coming out. Well, we'll add that in somewhere. They're going to be seeing the similar thing.
We should have done a simpler event.
Well, yeah. All right, but so the main thing that she's up to is she's ensuring that the vendors are coming in at a certain time, and now she's ensuring that the vendors are leaving at a certain time because you don't want to accrue more costs.
Right.
Messes up the budget.
Right.
That is it in a nutshell there.
Okay, I think that's good.
So let's see, how is she feeling at teardown?
Oh, yes, forgot about this part.
So, yeah, well.
That's okay.
At teardown, what is she thinking? She's thinking, what's the task at hand? She's thinking,
I don't know, how without stating the obvious, I mean, she's like,
thinking,
I got to get these people out of here.
Right. How to ensure all vendors exit the event without any snafus. Exit and clean up. And snafus. She's thinking how she will address issues that will come up. How does she charge vendors who do not stick to the timeline? Right? Yeah. How to ensure all vendors exit the clean up the event without any snafus. How she will address issues that'll come up. I can't spell, and my grammar is really bad. That'll come up. How does she charge vendors who do not stick to the timeline? All right. I don't know why that changes like that. And what is she feeling? She's probably feeling like some of those vendors are going to be pretty mean. Well, not mean, but like pushy.
Why do you say that?
Some vendors are pretty pushy. I mean, they are.
Okay. I wouldn't know. You would know.
Going to be pushy. Thus, she's unsure how her temperament might be. She's a tough cookie. This is giving some color to the
sure.
cookie, but she rather build strong relationships with the vendors. There we go.
Okay.
Fix spelling and all that later. Alrighty. So after they do the teardown and everything, they're going to have their final invoices. The final invoice will also have any charges that have occurred from the teardown, those charges will be charged back to the vendors, depending. And then the last task here would be follow-up. So not sure who this is going to be tasked to yet, but again, they'll be able to see, well, let's just go back to the goal here. The goal here is keep track of follow-ups, thank yous, and survey results. Okay, so in this, you'll have the task assigned, again, something that'll show up that it makes it obvious that this task is assigned to this person. They'll have a dashboard. Unsure exactly what they're going to be looking at here yet, but it'll be something around the lines of a survey that you're going to build. There's a template that it'll be associated with that, as well as a thank you. In here, just get a little closer. Let's just say, hypothetically, they picked the survey button. In the survey template, they'll have to populate what their goals are or what they want to ask for the survey on one side, and then they get to choose their survey greeting. The greeting the survey and this greeting almost act in tandem as like a thank you for coming to the event. Would you be willing to fill out a survey type of thing? So that's why in here you'll see next time and feedback. So next time is giving them that pass, like, oh, I don't want to provide feedback right now, maybe next time. Using the word next time as like a nicer term.
Sure.
And then whatever this feedback is, whatever this greeting is, has to entice them to actually try to give the feedback. So maybe there's some incentive there for next time that they have the event. This survey template will then go out to the guest list, and this guest list, you'll have the ability to modify the guest list depending on the goals of what the survey is. So maybe there's some sponsors or some guests that didn't sponsor money that you don't want to necessarily send this survey to. That gives you the option of catering the survey to certain needs,
right, for
the goals at the end of the day,
basically.
The ROI, whatever it might be. So this should probably be in a circle because it's happening peripherally. This greeting that the sponsor or whoever attended the event will look at, we'll see. This is what they're going to receive. Oh, it always happens, whatever. And then this somehow, once they do give the feedback, will populate a survey result. So even the survey results that's happening back in the app, even if someone says next time, that will also come up in the survey. So that way they keep track of who was enticed to actually take the survey or not, and provide feedback. So that way next time maybe they'll try to change the wording a little bit, or maybe they'll send out a separate type of subliminal survey or feedback results, something or another, that's catered to those people that just don't do that. Maybe instead of giving them the choice, they have to actually fill it out. I don't know. Maybe that's complicated. So in here, in your dashboard, you'll see the survey results that are calculated. And I was thinking somehow they have to bring this back up for next time if they use the same app. But that's kind of out of our control if they're going to use it again next time or not.
I think that whoever is leading this part, she would probably download the surveys.
Download the surveys?
Or download the survey results, I mean.
From the
app, just download it as a PDF. Then she would have going forward
for next time. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's probably also going to send the survey results to the team, or to send some notification that the survey results are available.
Yeah. Maybe it's like the greater team, even outside of the people that are using the app to create the event.
She could forward the downloaded results, yeah. I think like in the app, the team for the team that is using the app, she probably has the ability to just send a notification within the app for the team members to check out the survey results.
Okay. Maybe it's some sort of like download looking arrow. Download. Okay. Results are calculated. She downloads the results. And then sends result summary to grader team. Yeah.
I think that's good for the objects in this area.
Somehow downloads the results. Whatever that simple looking graph looks like. Then she'll send results to the team. Okay.
How many minutes are we into our video?
We're almost at an hour.
Should we say cut here and then revise this offline and then come back and do the actual presentation at this point?
Yes. Yep. Okay. Let's do that.
Okay.
Stop sharing.
Bye for now.
Bye, y'all.